Hello, this is GameMaker Rob, and in this episode we finally have... Try again. Hello, this is GameMaker Rob, and in this episode we finally cover Collision, along with a few other bits and bats. Okay, so at the moment, when we're moving our player into the house, because the house is on a deeper layer, like it's drawing in front of the player, the door is drawing over the player. So to get away from that, we are going to cut out the door, which I've already done, just on the house sprite, like this. And I've made a new sprite for the door, like this. And we're going to create a new object. OBJ door, give it the door sprite, and we want the door to be drawn below the player, so we're going to need one more layer, and we're going to move it to the bottom and rename it to door layer. So now we've moved the door here. There we go. So now if we run the game, we should see much better result. Yeah, I forgot to tell the door to have an image speed of 0. So to stop sprites, to stop objects drawing sprites in like an animation form, you have to tell them image speed equals 0, and then to make sure they're going to draw the first index or whatever index you want them to draw, then it's image index equals 0. Alright. The next thing we want to work on is collisions, and there's a few ways to do it. You can do it based on tiles or like a grid, but I think the easiest one to understand and just to get started with is using an object. I've already got a sprite called SBR impassable, and now we need an object. So OBJ impassable, give it the impassable sprite, and we want it to not be visible, so uncheck this, and the first area we will use it will be home exterior. We will have one more layer, and we're going to rename it to impassable layer, just so we can see it drawn on top of everything else. So the way to do this is just drag the object into the room, and then wherever you want it to be impassable, just cover it with the object. and we just need to do the house now as well. Okay, so let's change the movement code. So if keyboard check Alt A and place meeting X minus brackets move speed plus 1. Y obj impassable. And we can delete this and this. So I'm just going to explain this code one time, and then we're going to use it for the other 3 directions. So if we're pressing left and there is not an object impassable with X minus move speed, then we can move there. The reason I'm using move speed plus 1 is I want to leave at least a 1 pixel gap between our player and the impassable objects. If we don't do that, then it can lead to some annoying movement where you can't move up. Sometimes if you're at the far left, you have to move a bit right first. So it's just to make sure we're going to have smooth movement for the whole movement range. So let's just copy this for the next 3 directions. Oops. And we want instead we want to take out sprite width as well. We don't need that anymore. Place meeting X plus move speed plus 1. Y obj impassable. Delete this. Delete this. Delete this. Next one. And place meeting X Y plus Y minus, sorry, move speed plus 1. Obj impassable. Delete. Delete. And finally, just going to give this a quick check. Okay, so let's run the game, make sure this works. I'm holding up and now holding down just to make sure we can't glitch through anything. And it seems to be working perfectly. Okay, so let's just add some impassable objects to the rest of the rooms. Room adventure. This room is a little bit different to our other ones because I have trees randomly spawning just so I didn't have to mess about in the creator. And if you're using that same method that I am, then I'll also show you how to still keep it random and still use impassable objects to stop the plane moving around. Okie doke, so if we go into OBJ grid, and where we are creating the trees, possible x equals xx times grid size, possible y equals yy times grid size, impassable object equals instance create layer, and we want impassable x, impassable y, layer obj impassable, and that's it. So all we're doing is every tile that we have a tree, we are also creating an impassable object. So let's give that a quick test run, make sure it works. I should probably change this to vars actually, VAR, because we're only ever going to need to use it in this bit of code. Let's make sure we can still, yeah, cool. Although I'm getting stuck a bit there. I think it's because of the way that I placed objects. So let's see if I can move on to trees. No, I can't. Although I can move on the side. Can I move on the top as well? Oh yeah, of course, because the reason we can move on the bottom and the side is because the tree sprites are 64 by 64 and the impassable sprites are 32 by 32. So if we just go into OBJ, sprite impassable, make the default as 64 by 64. Just check that it hasn't changed any of our, yes of course it has. I'll have to resize these now. It'd be faster to delete them actually. I'm just going to fast forward or skip where I redo this bit. Alright, so let's test it now. Oh, that's much better. I can no longer walk on a tree. Okay, cool. Let's just make the exit point a bit bigger. Alright, that's cool. One more room to do. New layer. Passable layer. Okay, I think that's going to conclude our tutorial for this video. In the next video, I think I'm going to cover doing some more polish on the battles, just making them look better and a bit more interesting, as well as making it easier to have multiple attacks available for your monsters. Oh, and also capturing them, because I meant to do that about 5 videos ago. Bye for now, guys.